In 2016, Stranger Things premiered on Netflix and quickly became a global phenomenon. Set in the 1980s, the series takes us to the small town of Hawkins, Indiana, where a group of kids discovers that their world is not the only one. There exists another dimension, known as the Upside Down, a dark and hostile place inhabited by unimaginable creatures. Among them is the Demogorgon, a being that seems to embody fear in its purest form. With its terrifying humanoid appearance and the ability to move between dimensions, the Demogorgon left an indelible mark on fans. But it's not just its design that makes it fascinating. It's the mystery surrounding it, its connection to the Upside Down, and the eerie echo it seems to share with the cosmic horrors penned by H.P. Lovecraft nearly a century ago. Lovecraft, the master of cosmic horror, envisioned worlds and entities beyond human comprehension, beings that embody chaos and the unknown. What if the Demogorgon isn't just a fictional monster? What if its essence and the Upside Down are inspired by the same nightmares Lovecraft described? Today we're diving into how Lovecraft predicted some of the darkest elements of Stranger Things and what the Demogorgon might truly represent. Now, let's get into it. If we want to understand what makes the Demogorgon so special and so terrifying, we have to go back to the roots of a type of horror that really shakes you to your core, cosmic horror. And to do that, we need to talk about H.P. Lovecraft. Who was this man? Lovecraft was an American writer who, though largely unrecognized during his lifetime, is now considered the master of cosmic horror, a genre of terror not rooted in what we see, but in what we cannot comprehend. Lovecraft had a profoundly dark view of the universe. To him, humans were small, insignificant, almost like ants, lost in an immense, indifferent cosmos filled with forces that not only didn't understand us, but weren't even aware of our existence. And when those forces happened to cross paths with humanity, it never ended well. His stories are full of beings that defy all logic. Take Cthulhu, for example. It's not just a monster. It's an ancient, colossal entity so incomprehensible that merely looking at it could drive someone insane. These entities aren't evil in the traditional sense. They simply exist on a level so far removed from ours that we can't begin to fathom their motives. Often, they reside in parallel dimensions, places where the laws of physics and time cease to make sense. Now, think about the Upside Down in Stranger Things. Doesn't it remind you of those dimensions Lovecraft described? It's a dark, hostile place where everything we know becomes distorted. And in the middle of this chaos stands the Demogorgon. It's more than just a predator. It's something that crosses dimensions, defies our rules, and embodies the unknown. That's what makes it so terrifying. Lovecraft believed that true terror doesn't come from what we can see or touch, but from what lies beyond our understanding. And that's exactly what happens with the Demogorgon. Sure, we can see it, we can describe it, but what truly scares us is that we don't fully understand what it is or what drives it. That uncertainty, that primal fear of the unknown, is pure Lovecraft. The Demogorgon, or as we could call it, that thing you hope never looks your way, is one of the most iconic elements of Stranger Things. From the moment it first emerges, this creature dominates the narrative. It kidnaps Will Byers, drags him into the Upside Down, and introduces us to the show's central terror, a dimension filled with dangers beyond comprehension. But what exactly is the Demogorgon? Why does it unsettle us so deeply? Let's dive in and connect it to a certain famous writer of cosmic horror. First, let's look at its role in the series. The Demogorgon isn't just the primary antagonist of the first season, it's the linchpin that ties Hawkins to the Upside Down. It serves as both the enforcer and the gatekeeper of that shadowy realm. What's so compelling and terrifying about this creature is its lack of obvious motivation. It doesn't conquer, scheme, or even seem particularly aware of its impact. It simply exists to hunt, like a shark in the ocean, or better yet, Lovecraft's night gaunts or Deverdora's dimensionales. It acts on instinct. This absence of motive makes it alien to us, and that's what makes it so frightening. We fear what we cannot understand. The design of the Demogorgon is another masterpiece of storytelling. It's humanoid enough to feel eerily familiar, but alien enough to inspire dread. Its head, or rather, its grotesque floral maw lined with razor-sharp teeth, redefines the idea of a face, and the lack of eyes, pure nightmare fuel. You can't tell if it's watching, thinking, or planning. It has the same disconcerting aura as Lovecraft's Shoggoths, or the Gug, creatures from his mythos that are so biologically bizarre, they defy rational thought. These beings, like the Demogorgon, are hard to place in any framework of logic, making them impossible to predict or understand. But perhaps the most Lovecraftian aspect of the Demogorgon is its connection to the Upside Down. In Stranger Things, the Upside Down functions much like the alternate dimensions in Lovecraft's stories, parallel realms where the laws of our reality are irrelevant. In stories like The Shadow Out of Time or From Beyond, these otherworldly planes are teeming with life forms that exist beyond human comprehension. Similarly, the Demogorgon doesn't feel like just another inhabitant of the Upside Down. It feels like an extension of the dimension itself. It's almost as if the Upside Down created the Demogorgon as its apex predator, a guardian designed to keep intruders out, or perhaps to pull them in. If we dig deeper, the Demogorgon's lack of traditional eyes, its relentless predatory nature, and its ability to traverse dimensions strongly parallel Lovecraft's Devoradores Dimensionales. These creatures are described as beings that hunt across realms, driven not by malice but by instinct. The Demogorgon seems to share this characteristic. It's not inherently evil, but it exists on a different plane of intent and behavior, one that humans can't hope to rationalize. Even its name adds layers to its mystique. The kids in Stranger Things name it after the Demogorgon in Dungeons & Dragons, which is depicted as a chaotic demon prince. But the real-world origins of the name trace back to mythology, where the Demogorgon was tied to primordial chaos and the unknown, both of which align perfectly with this creature. In this sense, it mirrors Lovecraft's tendency to name his creations after ancient forgotten deities, evoking a sense of something primeval and eternal. And then there's its narrative presence. The Demogorgon isn't constantly on screen, but its shadow looms large. Every appearance is charged with tension because its very existence raises unsettling questions. Why does it hunt? Does it have intelligence? Or is it pure instinct? Is it acting on its own? Or is it controlled by the Upside Down itself? Lovecraft often employed similar ambiguity, leaving readers to grapple with mysteries they could never fully resolve. Creatures like Nyarlathotep or Azathoth are terrifying not just because of what they do, but because their motivations, and even their true nature, remain incomprehensible. Ultimately, the Demogorgon is more than a monster. It's a force of nature, a physical embodiment of the Upside Down's hostility, and a modern reflection of Lovecraftian horror. Like Lovecraft's best creations, it doesn't just scare us. It unsettles us on a deeper existential level. It reminds us of our vulnerability, our fragility, and how little we truly understand about the world around us. The relationship between Stranger Things, Lovecraft, and the Demogorgon is far more than a mere nod or casual inspiration. It's a homage to cosmic horror, skillfully adapted to a modern setting filled with bicycles, Christmas lights, and walkie-talkies. Yet, at its core, it carries the same unsettling truth. Humanity is small, fragile, and constantly stalked by forces it cannot understand. The Demogorgon isn't just another monster. It's an echo of the interdimensional entities Lovecraft described in his works. To grasp this connection, we first need to understand what made Lovecraft unique. In his essay Supernatural Horror in Literature, Lovecraft explained that his terror didn't rely on cheap scares or logical explanations, but on atmosphere. The feeling that something immense, incomprehensible, and terrifying was lurking just beyond our perception. The Demogorgon doesn't just show up without purpose. Its existence shatters the known rules of the world, an act Lovecraft defined as the violation of the immutable laws of nature. In Stranger Things, these laws crumble the moment the Upside Down is opened. The Upside Down itself is pure Lovecraft, a parallel dimension existing alongside our own, hostile and utterly alien to the rules of physics we understand. It mirrors the concepts found in stories like From Beyond, where scientist Crawford Tillinghast builds a machine that stimulates the pineal gland, allowing people to see creatures from another plane of existence. The catch? Those creatures can now see them too. Swap Tillinghast's machine for Eleven's psychic abilities, and it's a perfect parallel. Eleven doesn't just connect with the Upside Down. She opens a door, allowing the Demogorgon to cross over. And here's the chilling part. The Upside Down was always there, waiting, much like the dimensions in Lovecraft's tales, where curiosity or carelessness inevitably breaks the barrier. Then there's the Demogorgon itself. This creature doesn't have clear motivations. It doesn't seek revenge or have a master plan. It simply exists, hunting, killing, and instilling fear. Its design, with that grotesque flower-like head of razor-sharp teeth, is both familiar and alien, amplifying its terror. It's impossible not to compare it to Lovecraft's dimensional Shambler or the Hounds of Tindalos, beings that slip between dimensions, hunting their prey with relentless precision. Like those creatures, the Demogorgon isn't just a physical threat. It's an extension of the Upside Down, a living embodiment of cosmic chaos indifferent to human life. The Hawkins National Laboratory is another clear nod to Lovecraft's themes. In his stories, scientists often serve as the catalyst for opening portals to forbidden dimensions, whether out of arrogance or reckless curiosity. Dr. Brenner, with his experiments on 11, and Dr. Owens, who underestimates the danger of the Upside Down, fit perfectly into this mold. In Lovecraft's works, science isn't a tool for progress. It's the key that unlocks horrors beyond comprehension. And Stranger Things captures this dynamic flawlessly. Even Hawkins itself feels like a Lovecraftian setting. Though it's a seemingly normal small town, its isolation and eerie proximity to dark forests evoke the fictional locales of Arkham or Dunwich from Lovecraft's mythos. These towns, distant and decayed, foster an atmosphere where the unknown lurks in every shadow. Hawkins, with its dense woods and ominous energy, feels similarly disconnected, as though it exists on the edge of something profoundly wrong. Like Lovecraft's settings, Hawkins isn't just a backdrop, it's an integral part of the horror. And then there's the enduring nature of the terror. In Lovecraft's stories, horrors are rarely defeated. They're merely contained, waiting to resurface. This is exactly what happens in Stranger Things. At the end of Season 1, it seems like the Demogorgon has been vanquished, but then Will coughs up a slug from the Upside Down, signaling that the danger remains. Season 2 escalates this further, with the Mind Flayer looming ominously over Hawkins, a stark reminder that these forces can't be destroyed, only delayed. It's a direct parallel to stories like The Call of Cthulhu, where any human victory is fleeting, and chaos is always on the horizon. So, is Stranger Things a Lovecraftian series? Absolutely. It takes the core ideas of cosmic horror, the fragility of humanity, the proximity of chaos, and the incomprehensibility of the threats we face, and adapts them to a modern narrative. The Demogorgon isn't just a monster, it's a reimagining of Lovecraft's creatures, a manifestation of our fear of the unknown. The Upside Down isn't just a setting, it's a Lovecraftian dimension that reflects our deepest nightmares. And Stranger Things isn't just an adventure series, it's an exploration of what happens when we dare to look beyond the boundaries of our reality and find something we were never meant to see. Lovecraft might be proud, or utterly horrified. In summary, Stranger Things doesn't just borrow from 80s aesthetics and adventure films. It's a story deeply influenced by the cosmic horror of H.P. Lovecraft. From the Upside Down, a parallel dimension that defies the laws of our reality, to the Demogorgon, a creature embodying the indifference and chaos of the unknown, the series serves as a modern tribute to the fear Lovecraft immortalized, the terror of the incomprehensible, of what lies beyond our understanding. The Duffer Brothers have masterfully adapted these concepts for a new generation, blending them with heartfelt storytelling and memorable characters. Yet, at its core, the message remains Lovecraftian. Humanity is small, fragile, and constantly stalked by forces it cannot comprehend. And, as Lovecraft taught us, those forces cannot be destroyed, only contained for now. If you enjoyed this analysis and want to uncover more secrets of cosmic horror, don't forget to give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss our next dive into the abyss. See you on the next journey into the unknown.